brain. Axe skill. Die, you little spidery bitch. Poison's better half of the brain as well. Gotta kill that. Oh no, 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 no. Don't tell me I'm gonna get fucked over. No! Oh fuck, 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 fuck. I need to spam the grenades. I'm not done yet. Yeah!
Takedown! There's nothing I can't beat.
G'day, g'day, Corbinate2000 here. Today I'm going to be showing off my new Borderlands 3 character build for you guys, which I've dubbed Hellwalker Amara. Build is pretty self-explanatory. As it suggests, I'm going to be using the Hellwalker shotgun as my main source of damage, and it works actually really, really well. It's actually viable on Mayhem 4 and can even solo the takedown. It's not ideal considering it's a fire shotgun and you've got a bunch of shielded and armored enemies, but it works, and it works really well. So with that out of the way, let's just jump right into it. Let's start with the gear. Alright, so first things first, first off we've got the Hellwalker shotgun as our main weapon. Pretty self-explanatory. It's basically just the Doom super shotgun, and that's basically what it's a reference to. The version I've got is got bonus damage after phase cast. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the probably the thing you want the most. It's the ideal anointment you want. You can still use an unanointed one or something with a different anointment, a Hellwalker with a different anointment. But this I found is the best one for damage. The Phase Slam does give anointment one does give you more damage, extra 50%. But I find the cooldown rate between Phase Cast and Phase Slam too big of a problem. So I prefer the quicker action skill cooldown of Phase Cast, which I'll cover when I cover skills. And we've also got a Face Puncher. Any Face Puncher will do. This is only going to be used for basically getting ammo back in conjunction with a Cutpurse artifact, as Cutpurse artifact gets you ammo when you do a melee attack. Combine that with a face puncher, which its shots count as doing a melee attack or melee damage. You get your ammo back instantly, and this works and this gives you shotgun damage ammo. Alright, so for the gear, pretty simple setup. I mean, as I said, you only really need the Hellwalker. You can use other weapons if you want, and it works really well, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just using the Hellwalker. Hellwalker is a legendary fire Jacobs shotgun that is basically a reference to the Doom super shotgun. It's actually quite powerful, especially considering it's a Jacobs fire shotgun. Its main weakness though is that it's exclusive to fire element, to the fire element I should say. The variant I've got is after using phase cast, weapon damage is increased by 250%. This is pretty much the best version of the Hellwalker you want. This is the ideal version. You can use an unanointed one or something with a different anointment on it. However, this is the one you're going to be looking for. Next thing you're going to need, the only other thing you need, is a face puncher shotgun. This shotgun basically, its pellets count as dealing melee damage, and its damage scales with melee. It's not a melee build, but the idea of it dealing melee damage works stupidly well when combined with a Cutpurse artifact. A Cutpurse artifact gives you ammo back when you melee someone. Face puncher counts as a melee attack, and it's a shotgun, so you get shotgun ammo back. Works perfect for a shotgun. When you're using a shotgun as your main weapon. As for shield, you basically only really want a shield that has a action skill and gain 50% cryo damage with weapons for 10 seconds. You just want a really good tanky shield. I actually end up using the Rough Rider. Rough Rider has gives you 23% damage reduction and gives you 35% extra health. but this comes at the cost of no capacity. I actually used this to run the takedown, and it worked actually surprisingly well. The damage reduction is actually quite good, and I enjoy it. Some other options could be like, I don't know, backhand transformer, front loader, if you want more survivability. This I find works really well though. For the grenade, you just basically want any grenade that has on action skill and gain 50% bonus corrosive and one with 50% fire damage. Those are the two you really want, and I'll be going over this in this skill shortly. Because this anointment, they stack together, so you're getting corrosive, cryo, and then in this case fire damage. And with some of your skills, you're even going to be able to add shock to it, or you're going to be able to double down on certain elements. So if you could have more corrosive damage, plus this for more corrosive damage, plus this for cryo damage, this allows you to take down armored targets a lot easier. Ideally, the best grenade you want this on is a hex grenade. Now the hex grenade has some interesting synergies with some of Amara's skills, though as I said, I'll cover that in the skills section. Cutpurse artifact, quickly discussed this earlier. Basically use this to get ammo back, and even though you're sacrificing damage, you don't need the damage as much. This is a godsend. But the main thing you want is you want a Cutpurse artifact with 40% extra mag size. Now the reason you want mag size is because when combined with one of Amara's skills, which boosts mag size of elemental weapons, you can turn the Hellwalker from a 1-shot to a 2-shot. So instead of doing 1-shot reload, 1-shot reload, you're getting 2 shots and then reloading. And that works stupidly well. It's basically doubles your DPS. And that's really awesome. If you're looking for a very specific Cutpurse artifact, the auto idle is a nice one to use. It gives you 18% of your max health back after killing an enemy. That's just great for more survivability. Some other good ones is a launch pad. When you slam, you launch a barrage of homing missiles down, and this actually works with a Cutpurse because those homing rockets can give you ammo back. When I ran the takedown, I ended up using a safeguard. This is mostly because at the time this is the only artifact I had that had the bonus mag size, and it was on a Cutpurse. This effect doesn't really do much because you barely slam at all. But yeah, basically the main thing you want is Cutpurse artifact with bonus mag size. All the other stats, don't really need to worry about, because mag size is the big one you want. As for the class mod, I'm using the Phasezerker Class mod. The skills on it don't really matter because they don't really boost a lot for this build. The big thing is the special thing the class mod does itself. When you use your action skill, you gain max rush stacks, and they decay slowly over time. You gain 2% weapon damage and 1% action skill cooldown rate per stack, and you get an extra 5 stacks. Now, you're only going to be getting 15 full stacks with this build, but 15 stacks is still an extra 30%, I believe, 30% extra gun damage, and an extra 15% action skill cooldown rate, and cooldown rate is the big thing you want. For the special bonuses, you want shotgun damage, weapon damage, shotgun damage, and Jacob's crit damage. If you get a Phasezerker with that combination, you've got a great class mod. You don't need to have this specific god roll one. This is just an extra nice bonus. So yeah, that's basically just the gear. So moving on to the skill trees, I mostly invested in the Fist of the Elements skill tree, as this has the most skills that benefit making any weapon viable for every situation, which is what I want for the Hellwalker shotgun. I want it to be useful as not just a fire weapon, but every enemy is weak to fire, but every enemy, even ones that have shields and armor. So this skill tree works the best for that. Then spend the rest of my points into Mystical Assault and Brawl just to give myself a few extra little things that are important to this build. Now and that's why I went with that and this setup instead of a typical Phasezerker setup, which involves getting Avatar and then spending the rest of the points into Fisting Elements to get a little bit of sustainment for healing, and then nothing in this skill tree in Brawl. So yeah, with that covered, with that summarized, let's just go through the skills individually. First off, I put 5 points into Infusion. This converts a bit of your weapon's damage into your action skill element, so Fire, Shock or Corrosive. This is 40% when maxed out. This basically allows me to convert 40% of my Hellwalker's fire damage into either Shock or Corrosive, which works great which is very good when going up against enemies that have multiple health bars or are mostly shield or armor. Now this does come at the cost of having, for whatever reason, status effects damage being reduced. This is just kind of a side effect that Infusion has had since basically day one, and it's been one of the reasons some people don't like this skill as much, as they find they prefer matching elements consistently and just switching between weapons instead of making a weapon that works for every situation. I like the idea of it, as it means you don't need to switch weapons constantly. So yeah, and this is important for a build focusing on a weapon that is fire exclusive but using it for everything. Right, next up I've maxed out Steady Hands. This gives you increased weapon accuracy and weapon handling. Weapon handling, I don't know what that does, but it's nice to have, I guess. But the big thing here is the weapon accuracy. Accuracy on a shotgun equals a tighter spread of your pellets, which means more effective, a longer effective range, meaning you can snipe enemies across the distance more easily with a shotgun, and that's really good. Next, I put 3 points into Anima. This increases your stats effect damage over times, damage and its duration, and your action skill stats effects deal more damage. I only put 3 points here because, as I said, Infusion makes stats effect damage over dots not as effective for whatever reason, plus it's not a big part of this build, so I only put 3 points here just to go down the skill tree. Next I maxed out Tempest, increases your elemental damage and shock damage is further increased. Just more damage, and it's a no-brainer for any gun build for Amara. It's a no-brainer, it's just go get it. Plus, once you go down to this skill tree, you unlock Soulfires to convert your damage into incendiary damage. I only ever really use this element, switch to incendiary, if you're going against bosses that are weak to fire, like Tyrene or Troy. That's as most, but other than that, it's not used a lot for this build, which is actually surprisingly. Next, you're going to put a point into Deep Well. This increases your mag size of your elemental weapons by 20%. Combine this with a Cutpurse artifact that has plus 40% mag size, you get 60% mag size for your elemental weapons. This allows you to make your Hellwalker a 2-shot, which is very fucking good. Like, trust me, having a Hellwalker instead of having to reload after every shot is great, and being able to just spam 2 shots is fantastic. It doubles your DPS, and this one skill basically makes it where you only need to get it on your artifact instead of having to get it on artifact and then your class mod. Plus, it's 1 point, it's not that hard, and there's nothing else really to spend it on, so it's as good. Plus, if you don't want to use the Hellwalker and use other weapons with this setup, which you can actually do quite effectively, it's just nice for extra mag size because it means less reloading, which is always a good thing. Next, you want to max out Indiscriminate. Bullets, this allows your bullets to have a chance of ricocheting to nearby enemies, and they deal a bit of damage. Not as much damage, but it's damage. This works really well with multi-projectile weapons because each bullet has a chance to do that ricochet, and when you've got a bunch of enemies confined in a space, this allows you to do more damage in one shot to groups of enemies. Plus the fact that the Hellwalker is a Jacob's shotgun, so crits will do it automatically. This allows those projectiles that might not have hit the crit to have a chance of ricocheting anyway, which is nice. Plus it just looks cool having bullets flying everywhere. Next, I maxed out sustainment. This gives you lifesteal whenever you damage someone with an elemental gun. Now, maxed out, you're getting 20%. Most builds I find that have elemental builds only put like 2 points into this skill, mostly because they're using weapons that have a higher fire rate and like a fully automatic, and thus dealing more damage consistently. The Hellwalker does good amount of damage, but you're only getting 1, or in the case I've set up, 2 shots before reloading, which affects your consistency of getting healing back basically. So I went with maxing this out to get the max amount of HP back as possible to keep survivability a big fit, keep you alive for longer. And this was essential for doing the takedown. Lastly, you want to get forcible expression. This gives you bonus elemental damage based on your action skill element, so bonus fire damage, shock damage, or corrosive damage by 18%. This is good for, again, basically going off the same premise of infusion, making the Hellwalker just better in, dealing with other enemies. So if you've got someone who's got more shield, you're getting 18% extra shock damage, or if someone's got armor and using corrosive, you're doing more, corrosive damage, more damage on their armor. Conflux, it's not a part of this build, so I won't cover it as it's being boosted by a skill. Next, we're going to go into the Brawl skill tree. I put 3 points into personal space. This gives you bonus damage based on the distance between you and your target. Closer you are, the bigger the bonus. When using a shotgun, this is a no-brainer skill, as 36% extra damage is great. And using a shotgun, you're going to be up in people's faces most of the time. You're going to be up close, so you're going to be getting more of that bonus more often than, say, someone who's sniping or using more weapons at a longer range. Then I put 2 points into Roof to Rise. This gives you bonus health with 2 points, 16% extra health. This is just nice for a little bit of extra health, which is nice. I found it more useful than the 2 points than 2 points into Clarity, which gives you a little bit of health regen, which isn't as good as I found. Plus, you can get your class mod boosts Clarity anyway, so I found Route to Rise as being more useful. Lastly, I put 3 points into Helping Hands. This gives you damage reduction after using your access skill. 3 points, you're getting 28%. Combine that with a Rough Rider, which gives you 23% damage reduction. You're getting 51% damage reduction. This is really good because even though as much as I'd like to, I would have rather had 2 point at the full maxed out Helping Hand stacks here, but because of level restrictions and skill and just needing the skills elsewhere, I couldn't get that. So I found this 28% is very good. It's just nice to have. It's not as good as it could be, but it's more survivability. Being able to stay alive for longer is good. And with this, you can get down to Blight Target, which allows you to do corrosive damage, which is very important. Actually, it's vital if you want to do the takedown. This is important. This is extremely important because the Valkyries and Wotan have armored enemies. Using a fire shotgun, you're not going to be doing shit. So, but with this plus infusion, forceful expression, and that plus a grenade with bonus corrosive damage on action skill end, you'll be able to chew through the armor more effectively. That's basically the Brawl skill tree. Lastly, Mystical Assault. Max out Fast Hands gives you bonus reload speed, weapon swap speed, and mode switch speed, which is irrelevant. Reload speed is really good for a weapon you're going to be reloading constantly, so making reloads quicker is always a good thing. And the weapon swap speed is great for when you need to quickly switch to your face puncher to get more ammo back, and then switch back to deal more damage. It's nice to have. I put 2 points in Violent Tapestry. This gives you allows you to get rush stacks by applying status effects to enemies, and each stack of rush allows your status effects chance to be more to have status effects have a chance to have a higher chance of proccing basically. You could either put the two. You could alternatively put these 2 points into do harm, or put one into do harm, one into violent tapestry. These are just here to get down the skill tree, not important to the build. Next, you want to max out Restless. This increases your action skill cooldown rate, and this is important because the big part of this build is you want to shoot your action skill out and then deal all your damage. That's kind of how Amara works with a Phasezerker comm, actually, pretty much. So being able to shoot your action skill out quicker is good. Then I maxed out Transcend. It gives you let's try speaking properly. This skill gives you bonus accuracy and critical hit damage after using your action skill. Again, accuracy is great for a shotgun, tighter spread, longer reach. And critical hit damage, just more damage if you hit a crit, which you want to be doing. And lastly, you want to put a point into Ascendant. This basically increases the effectiveness of your action skill augments, which is nice. Alright, before we move on, we'll just go to cover the skills I'm using, the action skill I'm using. I'm using Deliverance, which is basically a modified version of Phase Cast. So basically shoot out a projection thing of yourself that damages everything in its path. With Deliverance, whenever your Phase Cast hits an enemy, it will shoot out 3 orbs per enemy hit. That will be matched to whatever element you're using. So shock orbs, corrosive orbs, or fire orbs. That trigger your action skill. Action skill elemental effect on enemies. So that's just bonus damage basically. It has the same cooldown rate as Phase Cast while doing a little less base damage. I just find it looks more cool. I went with this mostly because it looks cool. It has a bit more visual flair to it, and I like it. Plus, the little orbs can deal some extra little damage, which is nice. Then for the action skill augment, I went Soul Sap for more healing. It's basically whenever portion of your damage of your action skill returns to you as health. 30% base, but with Ascendant it's 50%, so half of whatever your action skill damage is, it will give you back in bonus health, which is great. So yeah, that's basically the build. Now, the way this build works is pretty simple. For general mobbing, you're just gonna have shock. You're gonna switch your action skill element to shock. Have a grenade with bonus corrosive damage on action skill end, and then walk up to enemies. Yeah, shoot your Phase Cast out, aim for the head, just go to town, keep going, and just kill as many enemies as quickly as you can. It's pretty self-explanatory.